You're listening to Studio 57 Radio, your home for underground hip-hop, rap, and R&B. Studio 57 Radio.
Where do I come from?
It seems like you have a little problem understanding the English language.
The only way a guy like you gets a set of nuts is by buying them at the concession stand.
I will eat his carcass in front of his little gazelle friends.
He's like a jar of mayonnaise with eyeballs and a ketchup haircut.
Shut your mouth, you thong-wearing fatty!
Son of a bitch.
Wow, man, freaked out!
Get your fucking shit together, my God!
And I'm living now, yeah!
I want to know what's going on, and I want to know right now.
It's like the most important man in the world standing here, and you got a conversation going with each other.
I would like to just get to know you.
The great one says you can kiss his ass.
Nice to meet you. What's going on?
I wish horrible flesh-eating disease on you and your family, but not a disease where you die. A disease where you have to walk the earth mutated as some sort of piece of...
Listen to me very carefully.
Whatever your name is, get ready for the big surprise.
Listen to me very carefully.
Maybe I am insane. Maybe I am insane. And maybe it's time for you to find out how insane I am. Yeah.
We're not here just to take part. We're here to take over.
Yo, 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 what up, though? Let me holla at you for about 60. It's your boy Scrappy the Belt Guy. It is time. Belt collectors, unite. All right, guys. Debauchery is in full effect everywhere. Holy cow. I can't take it anymore. I'm losing my freaking mind. Is 2020 over yet? Holy shnikes. That's all I got to say about 2020. Like, anything else I'd have to say might come out of the other end, because that would more resemble what this year has been and what it is turning out to be. So before we get into the negative tip, happy Father's Day to all the dads out there, especially you stepdads doing your thing, taking care of somebody else's kid and, holding down the fort. We love all of you out there. I'm a girl dad as well as a stepdad. And so, like, right now is crazy times, and we got to be more diligent as fathers. And so if you guys are out there doing your thing, man, we appreciate you more than ever right now. So there you go. That's my big shout out to the dads out there. My Father's Day was pretty good. I hope all the dads, everybody had a pretty good day. My day was good. I'm used to getting pummeled with like just horrible days. Father's Days have not like historically been real good, but the last few years, of course, have been excellent. And so my kids are grown in a lot of cases and out and doing their thing. So it's been an interesting day, but it was nice. My oldest daughter called me. We were on the phone for an hour or so, just chit-chatting and doing our thing. And my other daughter come by and brought 2 cards and a little gift. And my stepson gave me like 20 pounds of fucking candy. Like, I'll have diabetes by 8 o'clock tonight if I didn't have the show. So I was digging that. So, and cards. And then, of course, my girl took great care of me and hooked me up with an outstanding dinner. And, of course, my very favorite homemade apple pie that she makes. So, like, I'm playing fat kid all day today. Got some work done early in the day and was able to kind of enjoy the afternoon before we sit down. And I have a fucking aneurysm right here live on the goddamn internet. Holy jeez Louise. I don't even know where to start, guys. It's up to you. You guys can get in on it. Of course, we are all over the social media. Studio 57 Radio's Facebook page, and over there on the YouTube. You can check us out on Stitcher, Spreaker, and all kinds of TuneIn and SoundCloud and all that crap. But if you want to get in on the chat, you can do it via the social media and, of course, the text line. Anonymous if you choose, but I'd love to throw a name out there, so feel free to rep your city at the very least. 313-307-5340. Another way to make sure you're just right in my face and I get it. And if we're not live, we're not doing the show, and something comes to your mind or you got a question, you want to reach out to me, and it's about something we've done on the podcast, that's another avenue for you to do that, and maybe we'll bring it to the show. I've got some stuff over here on the back side of the table. We're going to have some fun, and we're going to get into this thing. Welcome to the cloud. Okay, yeah, look at, okay, all right, guys. Juan, of course, Mike, Canada Mike, and Clive. We got a crew. Okay, cool. We got a few in here. We'll get a few going. We'll get things rocking. Thanks for hanging with me. Like I said, text line's available to you. I'd love to hear from you on anything. There's so much debauchery going on, whether we're talking about the hobby or, of course, what brings us into this this whole hobby. Is wrestling, right? Most of us are pro wrestling and or other combat sport fans, and pro wrestling is taking a beating, just a total beating for 2020. Like, sometimes I wonder if wrestling will survive all of this. Like, I know it's survived a lot of crazy stuff, but like it's been teetering on the edge, I think, for a long time, it feels like, and hopefully we can right the ship here, and things can kind of, there's a movement going on in this world, like especially in this country, but it is a worldwide kind of a thing. It's not affecting just us here in this country, but I've never seen anything like this. I can't imagine anybody that's watching this podcast has either, just because we haven't been alive. I mean, if you're 100 years old, maybe you've seen something like this, but you're probably not watching. So it's just like, it's a really, really wild world. Like, we already know about all the stuff that's been going on, right? The social unrest, all the political nonsense, the pandemic, the lockdowns, the this, the that. It's just everything, and now, we've talked about it before, right? The state of your mental health is really, like, dependent on the things you can do to escape. And so we have one of our things to escape is pro wrestling, and it's been greatly affected. But now it's like, you can't go there to escape now. It's got its own insane drama. Like, guess what? The Dark Side of the Ring next season it's being written right now. Okay, just so you know, it's being written via Twitter and social media as we fucking speak. It is the craziest shit I've ever seen. So we've got that today. If however you guys want to handle that. We have got God damn it, guys, these groups and this belt shit. Like, I'm up to here with some of the silly nonsense that's going on. The hypocrisy runs deep. I don't know how you guys do it. I don't know how you do it. I need to be more active in the BCU group, and a safe place, quote unquote. Having a safe place is it's like become a bad word, but God damn it, do we need a safe place more than ever right now? And it's crazy. So, like, we could run a list today of, I used to do this gimmick. Okay, so back in the day, before I go into this, but back in the day, I used to do this gimmick when we did the podcast like 10 years ago. And it was called Celebrity Crime Time, because it felt like every time you turned around, there was another celebrity that was getting arrested. So we had this game, and me and my partner in the show, we played, and we had these little cards, and I'll explain it a little bit. And then we'd have the listeners kind of play. And what we did is, it's like you'd earn points, right? Like, you'd pick a type of celebrity, like a category of a celebrity, whether it's an actor, actress, or a musician, or an athlete, or whatever. And then you would pick, like, the type of crime that they got arrested for and things like that. And you get different points. And then if you got them both correct in the right arrest, then you got bonus points. So then you'd have, like, this round number of points. A maximum amount of points you could get per arrest. And it seemed like every week we'd come back and do the show, and we'd have, like, 3 or 4 arrests we could pull from. them and do them all at once, and you'd rack up all these points. We go back and forth, and then whoever wins gets to pick first, and no one double picks, and the listeners would get involved via the text line, and it was fun. But it was fun because it was silly. It was almost goofy. This shit, we could play this game right now with this, and it would take us 2.5 hours to get through it, and it's not funny. It's the farthest thing from funny. It's kind of gross. So the wrestling angles got me crazy. The belt groups have got me crazy. But I do have some pointers for you on some of the things I have been seeing out there that's been kind of like, it's a thing. It happens. And just some pointers, things to look for, what to ask your belt guys, and what to do if you run into some of these leather problems with some of your real leather straps or re-leathers or whatever you're getting. Because we've talked about the lower grade leather that you get on a lot of different belts, whether they're overseas or not. Typically overseas, they just don't have that kind of leather. Like it's weird because like they can get the materials for the plates and do all that stuff like at a price that I can't touch. And we're going to get into that more next week, and I'll tell you a little bit later tonight what that's all about. But they can get the materials for the belts, like the plates, super cheap. But then like getting like leather like we have, the quality leather that we have here in the States, getting that there is a lot tougher for them. So you typically get the quote unquote beef jerky straps that we always talk about. And so a lot of cats will be getting stuff re-leathered and do all that. But before we get into all of those things, I'm going to start knocking some walls down. Let's get into let's dig into the hobby a little bit. We'll get into the list of wrestlers in the speaking out movement, which once again, there's plenty of great movements to get behind. This is another one, BLM, this one, the LGBTQ pride, anything that promotes kind of like, positive change. We're going to get behind. So I want to try to keep things positive, but unfortunately with this speaking out movement now, it's going to turn kind of negative. So we'll kind of push that to the side for a minute, and we'll get into it. We'll talk about it because it is dirty and grimy. But, we're here for belts. We're here for the hobby. We're here to have fun. So we're going to get into some of this stuff first. So what there's a huge misconception, and I love seeing everybody in the Facebook and the social media and hit me up. I got texts coming in too already. Good, you guys are rocking. We're ready to roll. This is gonna be an eventful show. I can tell already. Thanks guys for the and the YouTube chat room as well. So I'll try to monitor everything as we go. But I see there's just like this crazy misconception that. About belt makers and who makes what and how things work out here in the real, behind the scenes and like in the dark alleys of this hobby where things are being actually manufactured and made and put out. Okay, so we all have set this whole base, right? I want to be able to like set the base premise that we understand that when you're dealing with overseas makers, like a individual maker, whoever you find, you're dealing in bootleg products. So it's already a seedy underbelly. So we've kind of just have that as a base. Let's just kind of understand that when you're making a product and you're kind of pushing things and avoiding certain legalities and stuff that, there's going to be some shadiness just in the whole aspect. I mean, just from that. So that's what you're finding in this business is everything is super, super shady. Nobody is who they say they are, and nobody makes what they say they make and do what they do. Like, most of your belt, unless you're getting something from Milliken or Reggie or somebody directly that is an individual belt maker, I'm going to tell you, and even then, there's no guarantee that they're not getting their plates from overseas. I'm telling you right now. Every fucking belt maker is getting their plates from overseas. JB's getting killed for what they do because he misrepresented the shit, but they're all fucking doing it. All of them. And, you get into groups and, can't have any bootlegs. Gotta have only licensed products, but yet every time you turn, there's bootlegs. And the moderators are middlemen for bootleggers. And then you're bringing in the biggest anti-bootlegger in the, advocate in the world, in McMahon. And I totally get where he's coming from as far as licensing rights and people losing money and the legalities. And we talked about the reason why Matthew's here, and everybody's like, fuck Matthew. And it's great. And it's a cool gimmick and it makes a great shirt and we're having fun with it. But if you owned a company that was losing millions of dollars, you would have a Matthew too if you could get that money back. And so that's what this is all about. And like nobody and like stop. I can give you the emails. Like this whole podcast that we're doing right now has been in the works for years. Okay, I've talked to Dan. I've talked to these middlemen and these makers and all this stuff. I can show you the fucking emails. The cats that show interest in the stuff that I'm doing are more cats that we're trying to put the brakes on shit or disguise what they were doing and trying to cloak and dagger their way through this fucking thing. Like, I'm not going to see who they are. I spent a lot of years in the music industry here in Detroit. We used to pop janky promoters all the fucking time on former webcasts. And you're talking about cats that work with Clear Channel and do big venues and have all these big shows. And I mean, that is janky as janky get. These little backyard middlemen belt guys, they ain't shit. I mean, that ain't shit to me as far as, trying to figure out, like, they're not going to get one over on me. So I get it. I know what's going on out there. I've seen what it is. And so this whole game is changing, guys. It's all changing. You're going to either deal with, you're going to have, I mean, everybody outsources their stuff for the most part, I mean, even your American guys here that are local, Pro-Am belts, I do not believe outsources anything, but it's not like the designs that they are using aren't stuff that you've seen before, just stripped down with no logos and all that stuff. And that's going to be problematic for them eventually. AJ Belts, dude, they're on the up and up. Dude, trust me, they're making their money off you somewhere. So think about that. Anybody that runs a raffle is running you for some money. Think about that. Like, all that's happening. They don't put that shit together for the out of the goodness of their heart. Do the math. How much you're paying per slot, what the thing is, and how much you can go buy it on the shop for. And you tell me what's going on. And then you tell me why their boys and their admins always win the shit and then, quote unquote, give it away somewhere or do this, do that, or the other. And then they push belt makers and stuff like that, talk shit about others, and then you start seeing stuff down the road pop up about their very guy doing the very same thing that they were claiming somebody else was doing. Whether it be producing low quality belts or, using stuff that ain't theirs or not following through on whatever or whatever the case may be. This shit is rampant through all these groups, dude. Fucking, it's like banging a hooker, man. Strap up twice and pray to God. Because you just don't know what you're going to get out there. Reference check. Red flag. We talked about them, Watch them, see them, know them, and don't be afraid to run from them. But also understand, we proved with, and we've got our AEW right here, we proved with the whole bingo fashions that, they delivered. So everybody was just assuming and murdering these cats, and then these deliver. But, of course, the cats that we're assuming and murdering were also cats that, have a vested, a conflict of interest, so to speak. And we'll just leave it at that. And all that shit's going to unfold too. So just sit back and wait. All the walls are going to come crashing down. Your belts from most of your makers that are quote unquote American makers, even belts you see on TV right now, were fucking made in Pakistan. Okay? Are we clear? Let's be real. So yeah, all these cats, it's the same shit. You go on Wish and you want to buy something. Guess what? All those pictures are stock photos of some shit. It isn't an actual image of the shit you're getting. The problem is with belts, you hand make them one at a time. You can get a fucked up one and have a real good one. But they could do that to you all day. They could make a mint one, take a picture of it, looks great, and then send you some bullshit. So you're not protecting yourself with pictures, even though that is one of our red flags. It's not an end-all, be-all. We've proven it both ways. So, be smart. Be smart out there. Pay attention. So a big thing going on with these cats is, when you deal with, certain materials, shit doesn't work out right. So now I see a big thing going around, guys, with leathers, and whether it's re-leathers or it's the straps that you're getting on these overseas belts, or even from maybe some of you guys that are newer and at leather and don't like. I'm still green, even though my leather is, I say, up there with any of the guys. I'm still green, so like I have plenty to learn too. So I want to pass some of this stuff down. So we'll talk a little bit here in a second about how you can kind of fix some of your leather problems, or if you got brave enough to do a re-leather, or you wanted to do something, just a couple little tips, a couple little things that people overlook. Some of the things when you go and maybe you could ask your belt maker to do these things, like, because you're not getting that kind of little nuances of quality that you could get very simply with just a couple of things. So I'm gonna get into that here in just a couple of seconds, but I wanted to of course, shameless plug. If you haven't, guys, check out the website, jdubbelts.com. We're doing custom leather work there, fully custom championships. No, Matthew will not be there shutting us down because of our illegally made merchandise. That won't be a thing ever. So check us out. We got some t-shirts for sale. Share it. Even if you don't buy anything, just check out the site, see what you got going on there. Who knows? Maybe you'll get a tickle down the road. So, but fully custom. And then we're doing lots of cool leather stuff that you'll start seeing up there too. So jdubbelts.com. There's 3 B's all up in there, man, because we just do better business, baby. All day long, every day. Try to keep the communication up. We are a little bit on a little bit behind the 8 ball here right now with orders, but they're flowing real well now. So don't be shy. We'll keep this thing rolling. By the way, I'll have tons of new belts pictures to come on that page. I just haven't had a chance to get them on there. It's been that busy. So, but I got a bunch of them, so it'll be fun. All right. Now, before we start bringing the show down into anything sad, as far as the whole speaking out movement and all this crazy stuff we're seeing in pro wrestling, I just don't understand. I want to kind of stay within the hobby. I want to try to stay positive and try to keep things up. This is your escape from the negative. All right, well, we're gonna try. So I was talking about the leather, right? So a lot of the common things I'm seeing with the leather is edging, right? The edging is just not nice. The cuts aren't clean. You don't have that nice rounded finished look to the edge. The backings peeling off. I saw an ORM belt. Okay, this is a perfect thing. In the groups, that's what's so great about the groups. People post all this stuff that they got going on. And so I'd love to try to help, but every time I open my mouth in a group, everybody's got to be everybody's got some kind of smart ass fucking thing to say. And it gets annoying. But, I want to reach out and help the guy, but, that's what we'll save our group for and this show for. I'm just done, trying to put out there. But so he has an ORM belt, does great plates, but once again, still a victim of the leather situation over there. So he's got a belt that it was just sitting in a display case. Essentially, he got it signed at a show, put it in a display case. It just sat there for however long. He goes to pull the thing out, and the back is fucking peeling. The back's, I'm sorry, I was following all the text and everything. The back's peeling off, like just right off. It just looks terrible. And basically the center is the only thing kind of holding it on. And I will tell you, at least at this point, that he did the right thing as far as started at the center, worked towards the seams. But what happens is, this happens. Like, you can't avoid it. But there are a few things that you can make it so it doesn't happen so easy. If you've got it in a nice, climate controlled situation where the humidity isn't bad and you're not traveling with it and beating it up, it's just a display unit, that should last for quite a long time. You shouldn't have an issue. But what happens is they do a lot of different things and they don't know how to finish stuff quite properly, and just a lot of everything. So I'm going to show you some of the things. First off, they did do the right thing by starting in the middle and working their way out to the outsides when they were laying their glue. But and what they probably did was use something that I will say, if I'm going to recommend anybody to never ever use, it's what I see them use, and it's this shit right here. Okay, this fucking cheap by the gallon, whatever you can get, rubber cement is what they fucking do with that shit. That's why when you touch that backing, whatever the material is, it's got this almost weird, like tacky moisture kind of weird feel to it, almost like you could feel it behind the covering. It's just a weird feel. That is this stuff, okay? This stuff does not hold. This is bullshit when it comes to fucking leather. They have leather rubber cement, and I'm not a fan. I try not to use it. But this right here is fucking bullshit. And this is the stuff you see overseas makers use and why your back peels off. Not because we used something that isn't leather before and we're using real leather now, because I can glue nut hair to the back of a goddamn leather strap and it'll fucking stay on there if I use the right shit. Okay? I'm not fucking hearing that excuse. Okay? It's excuses because instead of manning up and saying, guess what? I didn't know any better back then, and this is what I was fucking using. Now, I pulled my head out of my fucking ass, and I use something like this, and it won't happen anymore. Okay? Or whatever the case may be. This isn't the end-all, be-all. This is what I like to use. Okay? Leather weld. Okay? I like to use the eco-friendly, non-toxic glue instead of the rubber cement. You can get rubber cement for leather, not shit like this. And that will work. I prefer not to use it. The fumes, I don't like it. I still feel it doesn't have the right feeling in the back, depending on the material you're using. I like the leather weld. I think it just is a better universal. Phoebings has the same stuff, essentially. They were just out, so I got this, and this works just as good. So there you go. So if you have this situation, you want to find you a sacrificial brush, okay? And you want to go out and get the real fucking shit, okay? You don't need a big-ass one like this. You can get the little $5 one or whatever. And then you want to take that thing and just do it in sections. Take your time and do it in sections. And then you're going to put a little bit in there, and then you're going to spread it evenly, start from the center, work your way to the edge with your sacrificial brush, and get that glue nice and even, and then lay that sucker down. If you can't push pressure on it, you don't have a roller, like a little roller is nice. I've got a little roller. I'll rub my hands and use hand pressure. You don't have to get real crazy. I always put something down because when I do my backing, it's over the studs. It's another thing. Send out straps are crap, in my opinion. They're never quite as good. And when you get a real re-leather done and you send your plates out, we cover those studs up so you don't those screw heads so you don't see that shit, and it looks super nice. And so you got to put those plates down, so you put something nice and plush down, and you do it on top of that, and you get it everything nice and even, and just take your time with it. Do one section at a time. The other boo-boo that these guys like to make is they'll lather the whole thing up, slap the sucker down, and certain parts dry before it's tacked down, and they have issues with consistency getting it on there, and it just becomes a mess. Okay? They just rough cut your shit, and they're done. That's it. That's all they do when you get these janky leathers. They just cut your shit and run. And so you get stuff with weird corners and goofy cuts and all kinds of messed up stuff. But the biggest thing that people complain about, which drives me kind of nuts, but I can understand because early in my re-leathers and doing my first leather straps, I didn't know. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to give that knowledge out. That's part of what this podcast is about. So what you want to do, and you'll always ask your guys, get me if you're doing a leather, then this is for you to know. But, if your guy's giving you that cut, rough-edged leather, tell him to get a wood slicker groover. It's super simple. They've got flat ones like so. They've got fucking round ones like so. And you're going to use a little bit of water, a little bit of friction, a little bit of love, and you're going to rub these things. You pick your groove size, your leather thickness, up and down your dampened edge of that leather. And it's going to round that out. It's going to give it a nice, rounded, shiny, clean, finished edge. Imagine fucking that. It is not anything magical. There's no crazy whoop-de-woo, dude. It is a fucking chunk of wood and, you know, a whoop-de-whoop-de-rubby-rubby-rub like you do at night in the shower when your wifey's not paying attention. It isn't fucking shit. Okay? They need to get this shit done. So just ask them, I want that stuff grooved. And then, in the end, that's not what's going to finish this thing off. Okay? You need this nifty little applicator here. See this little guy? They need this, and they need a motherfucking edge coat. Okay, I'm showing you everything so that you can tell these cats, this is the stuff I want to see out of my leather job. You know, when you look at someone's work and you take pictures, you know, and you're looking at the pictures, you're looking at the cuts, you're looking at the edges, you're looking at how the leather is stamped and how the leather took the stamping because you can't physically touch it. So edge coat is what's going to give it that nice, smooth, even edge. You're going to apply it with this little bastard. Okay? Ask for that stuff. Make sure they're using edge coat. Make sure they're taking that slicker and they're finishing those edges up for you. If you're paying top dollar and they're telling you they got this top grain leather. Hey, if you're doing like we've been doing here for the podcast and getting these cheap belts just to say, hey, look, we can get cheap, good, you know, decent quality belts here and who we can trust, you know, for our little gimmick here, then, you know, you're not going to get that, okay? Let's be real. They don't really even have the leather, to be honest, I think, to do that. But, you know, maybe you re-leather your own and you can use some of these tips down the road. Another thing I see that people complain about, a common mistake, and it's these things are a few dollars a piece, guys. This isn't like huge money to make this happen. The money is in the tools, in the physical leather, and then, you know, the quantities of like using stuff over and over again, whether it's snaps and this and dyes and that and glues and this and all that stuff. So what cats are doing is they're having a problem with the straps, okay? And either the colors melting, bleeding, wearing off, inconsistent. You can see stroke marks, things like that in it, whatever the case may be. First things first, if you can, for like $25, you can get a good airbrush set, like online, like on Amazon for like $25-$30, and airbrush when you can. Sometimes I don't because I've got a cool technique and I can get mine to look really good. And maybe I'll grab a belt over here real quick and show you how clean some of my stuff comes out as far as even. But you know, use that airbrush. You can eliminate those swirls and line marks from using a dauber or a sponge or whatever crazy way you're applying your paint or your dyes. An airbrush goes a long way, man. It saves you material and you get a much more even look. And the control, once you get the hang of it, it's real nice. So when I have a bunch of them, I do that. If I only got one or two right there, I'll just do it by hand. So it is a preference thing. So, but when you're done and you do your dyeing and other thing, the reason it looks uneven, the reason it doesn't feel protected, like it gets wet or it comes off on your fingers or the color fades and spots or chips or comes off, it's because they are not protecting their the dye with an acrylic finish. Resolene is an acrylic finish that you put on over top of your leathers to, you know, maintain all that and add that uniformity. And you use a damp sponge to apply this stuff. And these are all the things that, you know, it's just a couple bucks, essentially here or there, that, you know, of course, when you're doing stuff that kind of adds up over time, I understand. But the difference between getting something that's really janky and wacky looking to just having that next little nuance of, and my camera has been bumped this whole time and I'm not paying attention, that little nuance of just just cleaner, better, more professional look. So, and same thing, guys. When you're asking about leather, if you're doing a leather job, getting a leather job done, or you're looking at a belt that's got a certain, top grade veg tan leather is like the bare minimum, right? You can get some like superior oaked tan leather, like a 8 or 9 ounce leather or whatever, and have it be super, super nice, as opposed to something that looks similar, but when you touch it and bend it, it's not quite the same. And that would be like a veg tan, where you get like a standard veg tan. It's still real leather. It still tools the same. It still bends and is floppy, but not nearly as soft and pliable as like like one of those superior oak tan type leathers. So don't be afraid, guys, to ever hit me up in our messages, emails, or whatever like that. If you are doing a transaction and you don't know like how you want to handle it, if you can't remember all these things, these questions to ask, feel free to hit me up. I'll be glad to steer you in the right direction. Of course, we've got tons of great brothers and sisters in this group. You will see up and down the chat rooms and the conversations as we roll through here, that will help you as well. BCU, the Belt Collectors Unite group, is out there, guys. Feel free to go and add yourself up to that thing and join. Just be sure you answer every question on the block. We're weeding this thing out. We don't want we're trying to keep the Matthews out of the group, so to speak. And we're trying to keep it a positive, happy, show your belts, talk about your day, have a good time thing. If someone, once again, we don't do sales in there, but if someone is looking for something, if you're looking for something, feel free to put it out there, and maybe somebody in the group will be able to help steer you in the right direction. But so I encourage the in search of, but not, please no sale post and no promotion of other groups outside our group. I just don't want, we know what's out there, and I don't want to look like it's a group we're sponsoring when these groups out there are just fucking horrible. Like the janky fucking pull one over on, I can't do it. It's too much. It's too much. Like, I hang out because I love all the cats that go in there and post their pictures and talk about the belts and stay on the positive tip and have fun with it. That shit's cool. But you have more and more trolls in there in these groups, and then with all the crazy shit going on with the hobby and the negativity. And I'll tell you, a lot of it's the natural progression of what needs to happen too, because when you have a bootleg product out there like this, eventually the powers that be, the people that are losing money, are going to have an issue with it, and so that stuff will come down the pipe. And don't get it twisted, your boy Dan, he is. I've got the emails here. We talked about it. In one breath, he'll tell me that it isn't about the business and the boot, because I agree with him. Like, if I'm putting something out there, like if someone starts making, like, I've got the agreement with IWE, Imperial Wrestling Entertainment. I've done their belts. I'm going to do all their belts. I do all their replicas. We've got a deal. We're making money together. If someone goes out there and takes those belts and makes our money and we don't get a cut, I'm fucking kicking someone's fucking door in. And I'm not WWE, where you're talking about millions of dollars on the table, potentially. Okay? So imagine, so I get it. And it's the same thing with McMahon and Milliken and Reggie and all them guys. When their pocketbook is being affected, they have a right to be upset. Like, when you take money and food off their plate, they have a right to be upset. But don't fucking tell me that it ain't about that shit, that it's about the integrity of the hobby, because that is fucking bullshit. You don't care about the integrity of the hobby. You don't care about none of that shit. You just don't want people peddling stuff that takes food out of your friends' fucking mouths. You just sent me that very same statement in a text and then tell me right afterwards that that's not what you're doing. It's hypocritical in the statement. I've got the fucking emails here from 2 years ago when I pitched this podcast to all these cats in these groups, and none of them, they all put their tail between their legs because they know what's fucking coming. That shit's all getting outed. Now look at them all. They're trying to play clean and good boys and all this other shit, and they're even more on the down low doing shit. Don't get it twisted. And all your belts are Pakistani. All of them. All of them. Classic Shields, everybody. If they got authentic replicas and shit like that, they're running you in some short. So AJ's is getting them at a price, selling them at an inflated rate, and are pushing things that they're probably not licensed to sell. I've heard it too many times from too many people that place is going down at some point in time. Okay, it's just a matter of we talked about it, guys. You know, I mean, the walls can come down. I don't fucking care. I didn't make this fucking shit happen. I came into the same thing you did. I am trying to leave this hobby better than this. I don't have any invested interest. I don't bootleg fucking belts. I don't give a shit. I don't care if, you know, are there belts out there that I can't make that aren't available on the market as replicas? Yep. So I get why people go after bootlegs, dude. I got one right here. AEW, because of all the shit that's been going on, have not been able to put out replicas. They've got kids versions, toy versions that I believe are out now or are going to be out soon, but they don't have like the official replica out yet. So, you know, we jumped the gun. We were doing a fucking thing. I wanted that belt. It's not available. I got it. We have the Lucha. I have a Lucha Underground belt, and I have another one that's coming. Oops, it's already fucking here, and we'll review that one next week. Oh, did I say that? Oh, yeah, I said it, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Oh, what? Am I going too fast for you? Is it ADD radio? Yes, a little bit. I apologize. But I'm just saying, like, I understand why people, you know, go to these cats and get some of these belts. Some of the shit isn't available to you. But if it's available to you, I implore you to get the real deal. It's not the price point difference in most cases, especially on the resale market where the shit just turns over every fucking day. I mean, how many guys run out and buy a belt and then get it home and their wife sees it and then the fucker's on for sale like a week later? I mean, come on, let's be real. Yes, and there you go. And Juan, you're right. Classic Shields is a super high priced, and they're fucking Pakistani plates. The shit's overseas plates, dude. But they use a great machine. If I had an $80,000 fucking CNC machine, and I had the capital and the resources to buy the huge, thick zinc plates that they use to mill all that stuff out, if I could buy it at those kind of rates and do all that kind of stuff, I could make great belts too, like that. And then they charge you those insane rates because they're selling that American name when, dude, I'm telling you. It's just like when you buy, dude, think about it, man. You buy American, buy American car. Well, go buy your American car. Where the fuck was that bitch made? Like half that car was made overseas, okay? Like, let's be real. I don't care if you buy Chevy, Chrysler, Ford. Half that car was fucking made overseas. If you're a Chevy, half that car, it's interchangeable with Toyotas and shit. So don't you know, so stop. It's, you know, you can buy a Chevy for this much and you can buy a GM for that much, and the price point is significantly different, and they're the same goddamn thing. Like, the belt situation isn't a whole lot different. So let's be real. So I think, you know, for me, I've changed my outlook on the hobby, right? So I want some replicas, like legit replicas of certain ones that mean something to me for whatever reason. Then I like customs. So if I can't make it, I'll find a maker that can make it. Like, let's say, like, perfect example, if I'm going to do 4mm zinc, anything, I'm not doing it. I'm not making the plates here. For the prices that it costs in this country, I can just outsource it. It's cheaper. It's cheaper. I don't have to fuck with the plating. I don't have to fuck with the painting. I don't have to fuck with none of that shit. You make the fucking plates. Here's the design. You make the fucking plates. Send them back to me. I'll put them on leather. And that would be a belt I would make for myself. If I did a belt like that for somebody else, I would fucking tell them that's what we're doing. Every single belt maker you know, okay, right now the big thing is JB Toys, right? And fucking Usman making his belts and him selling them, talking about their licensed and they're this and they're that, the fondues and reselling them and this and that. And the other thing, all those fucking belt makers that are back there, don't tell me they didn't solicit that motherfucker and he bit. So he's stupid and he shouldn't have fucking bit. Or if he bit, he should have been upfront about it. but every single belt maker you know, every single one you know, soon as the J-Dubs page went up, they all got up on me. Every one of them. Call me a liar. Every fucking one of them wanted to fucking download my shit on the deal. They don't have to know why I did it. And then you can fucking upsell and we'll pump all our shit through you. And you can be a PayPal mule so we can fuck you. Dude, I lived in the hood. I know what dirt is. I ain't doing it. That's not why I'm in this hobby. Every one of them cats you buy belts from have gotten a hold of me at one point or time or another. Every one of them. So this is going on. That's what this is. I guarantee you there are other makers hiding behind other makers. 100%. 100%, I guarantee it. So, you know, keep your head on a swivel. Be smart. You know? Not everybody, in fact, most cats ain't who they say they are. DTA, motherfuckers. DTA. Even me, if you need to be safe. Like, goddamn. Like, I don't blame you. The difference is you can Google me, and my shit's legit. Like I'm cool. You know, whether you Google me as a musician or you Google me as a belt maker, I'm on the up and up. But so I don't have nothing to worry about. So I put the truth cast out here, and I'll be blackballed. I'll be shit on. I'll be fucked with. It's already started. It's already been happening. It happened when I tried to push this fucking shit out 2 years ago when I pitched this shit, and I started hitting all these cats up, the AK Impacts, all them fucking skanky shit fucking belt makers, and the Usmans and the Sean McClesters and all these grimy motherfuckers. It's the same. It's no different. Now they just go by Carmine and all these other fucking names. But it's the same fucking game. Just a different name. Man, I'd seen the hustle. I know what the hustle is. Look, I was a little skinny white kid in Detroit. I learned to rap. I did music. I was on that whole fucking scene. I've been in different levels of entertainment, never uber successful, but I've seen and been involved with fucking some of the best that the business has to offer, and I've been in the fucking gutter with some of the losers, okay? And I've seen everything fucking in between. And as dirty and as grimy as the entertainment business is, music and movies and entertainment, TV and all that stuff, and you guys know, the Epsteins and all that stuff, all that shit's slowly leaking out. The Feldman, the Coreys weren't insane. They were on point, you know. You're going to find all that stuff out. Wrestling is the same kind of way. The belt hobby is the same kind of way. If there's money to be made, it's grimy, it's dirty, it's gross. And that brings us to what we got going on in pro fucking wrestling. 313-307-5340. Thanks again, everybody, for hanging out with the show. I'd rather have customs or one of a kind or world first. Juan, I'm with you. I like ring used belts. I like originals. I like things that you can't get. I'm totally into that stuff. I love it. CS is high price. I agree. We talked about that earlier. We talked about rush jobs on the leather. Yeah, all that stuff. So, yeah, guys, I think we covered all that. Good shit. I appreciate you, Juan, Mike, Casey, Dave, Daniel, Patrick, everybody that's hung out with us so far today. We're not quite done. Thank you for hanging. I hope you guys had a great Father's Day. Everything's been going real well for y'all. Our boy Juan in the chat, you know, great dad, 2 beautiful kids. Saw the pictures on social media today. Another one on the way. I don't mean to break the news on the podcast. I know he's told some other people and put it out there already in our little bubble. So congratulations to him and all that, and all the other dads and stepdads out there doing their thing and holding it down. We appreciate you, and thanks for hanging in. So text line is out there if you want to get in on it. I almost would rather you guys hit me up in there with the names of everybody that has been called the fuck out because I can't keep up. Juan, you know what I'm talking about. You're listening out there. We talked about it on social media. I can't believe it. I can, but I can't. As grimy as I talked about the entertainment business, wrestling is so seedy and gross. And if even the smallest minute portion of any of this stuff is fucking real, it is so gross, let alone the fact that, this is happening. This is really happening. And the list is insane. And between, racists and pedophiles and bullies and other, sexual sex offenders and predators, I don't know what to say about pro wrestling right now. It is hurting really bad. It is hurting really, really bad. I don't know who can save it. I don't know if it's on life support. I don't know if it's that dire. But I really feel like this kind of thing, like the indies were at an all-time high. This could absolutely, without a doubt, destroy the indies. You're dealing with a pandemic where you can't even get these shows together. Then during the pandemic, of course, we're having the social, we were having the whole social reform conversation, which should have happened fucking 100 goddamn years ago, and we're finally fucking having it. So there's all this racial tension, and that's is in there. All racists are coming out of the woodworks like cock fucking roaches, and that is very prevalent in pro wrestling, and people are rightfully distancing themselves from that kind of shit. So shows are closing down left and right because of that, and because talent ain't fucking having it. And thumbs up to all you bad motherfuckers that are shutting these racist assholes down. And the same thing for these people that are standing up and speaking out to have the straight. I'm a girl dad, so a lot of these wrestlers are women that you're seeing that are victims, and like I'm so glad you guys have the strength to do this stuff and put it out there, and hopefully, like, all this stuff, it's a horrible conundrum. As much as I don't want all of this to be 100% true, it needs to be 100% true, because if one of these women is fucking lying, it sets back the whole goddamn movement, and that shit can't fucking happen. We need to fucking make sure that this shit gets out of fucking wrestling before wrestling dies a slow, shitty death. Okay, I mean, because we know the shit show that goes on in the WWE as far as the way motherfuckers are treated and preferential stuff. I mean, we've all heard the stories, and where there's smoke, there's fucking fire. I'm sorry. Dark Side of the Ring has proven that, and these podcasts with these cats that were there have proven all of that. So even when you're getting worked, there's an element of truth in some of that stuff. So let's be real. Pro wrestling has been a nasty, ugly place on all forms and all levels. But this is nothing like I've ever seen. I cannot believe the way this thing goes. Yes, the drive-in indie shows, they've been happening here, Juan, for a minute now, since I want to say for the last couple of weeks. You're starting to see multiples of them. I don't know if people were inspired by the whole pay-per-view with Velveteen and all that, where they had the cars kind of pulled around the ring. But that is something I've pitched to promotions in the years past, and they look at me like I got two heads, but now it makes sense. I was forward-thinking, apparently, but no. I love that kind of stuff. Any kind of way that you can make things kind of work, I think you're going to see a lot of of ingenuity, and I think that's great. We need that. That's what we need for pro wrestling right now. Being smart, taking care of each other, being good to each other, promoting positive things and trying to put things forth, good ideas, and work things through as a community, as a wrestling community. We talked about it in the belt community, and protecting each other and stuff like that, and having that close knit, and that so you could build that shield around each other, and that's that. I always kind of thought there was more of that in pro wrestling, because there isn't a lot of that in entertainment. You'll see that in little pockets, but it's not real. because you're talking about money. So big money. And pro and indie pro wrestling and a lot of wrestling, unless you're in the big show for a long time, there just wasn't big money in it. So though there's professional jealousy and climbing and all that, and there's still that, I just never thought of it as being as deeply seated as it really truly is. And it's one of those things where in a business where their whole job and their whole thing is to work, and they're constantly working and they're always working, it's hard to know what's real. And so and kayfabe died a long time ago, and so now there's so much more blending of real life into the kayfabe storyline in order to give you something more tangible to hold on to and be invested in. And I love that theory and that idea, but in the same resort, the same turn, you just don't really know anything about these cats. And I tell my kids all the fucking time, your heroes in TV or movies or in media or whatever, your celebrity heroes, do yourself a favor. Don't ever fucking meet them. Don't ever fucking go out of your way to meet them. Don't ever hang out with them or try to be their friends. Don't ever even, write them. Just admire them from afar. Enjoy them for who they are. Enjoy them for the entertainment that they bring you, and just enjoy that aspect of it and let it go. Because you will, in a lot of cases, and it seems more and more cases than ever, maybe most cases now, you will be disappointed. And that's horrible. So I just think I just don't know what to say, man. So it's coming down. The UK pro wrestling, it seems to be the hardest hit, but the sexual predator list is growing throughout pro wrestling everywhere. I have got 5,000 friends on my personal list. A good portion of them are pro wrestlers. I see guys, doing like my buddy. I hate to call him my buddy, but I feel a little kinship with him as we chat here and there on Facebook, but we're not really buddies, but we've got a Facebook relationship. Danny Limelight Rivera going to New Japan, and he's been killing it, man. He's just been doing really good stuff from Championship Wrestling to Hollywood and moving around and doing his thing. He's been doing right by his daughter. He's got his daughter doing commercials and stuff like that on TV. You've seen her. She does like Kellogg's commercials or some shit for cereal or something. Just a beautiful young girl that he's raised there, and he's done a wonderful job. I love bearing witness to that greatness. There's a lot of those great stories out there. Unfortunately, that's not what we're going to hear. That's not what we need to deal with right now. That's not what we get to talk about. As much as we'd love to celebrate that stuff, right now it's going to be, and unfortunately, right now in the times we're in, it's going to be about this. And this has to happen. So I'm just like buckling up to see who's next. I mean, you got Riddle and Devlin and all these guys. I hear there's AEW guys. Jim Cornette and his wife are implicated in shit. Like, it is so dirty at all levels. It's going to be crazy, man. So I'm going to kind of wrap up this whole thing with it, guys. I know you guys are like in shock, and it's just like I shut down social media and everything for a couple hours, and you go back and it's like what just happened in a couple hours shouldn't have happened in decades. So it's just crazy. So a lot going on, quick moving thing. So we'll see how it develops, and we'll kind of tackle it more. But I will leave on this note. I am a girl dad, and I'm glad that I taught my girls, things that are and aren't acceptable, so that they don't feel pressured to be in a situation where they get put, that they get put in with some of these people, and and you can't avoid them all. But I would hope that I, as a father, taught them enough to avoid those as much as possible, and then when you're unfortunately in them, to speak out. So I always think of my daughters when I see these women speaking out, and so it kind of gets me a little bit choke because my daughters are 22 and 23, and so you're talking about women of that age talking about things that happened to them when they were in high school to people that who they were entrusted with, and so that shit really hits home because my daughters were in martial arts during that time. And so I was always very involved and knew what was going on. And I know thank God that things were all right. But unfortunately, there's just so many things that are going on right now, and it's so bad. So just if you know somebody or you hear somebody or you even think of somebody that's in that situation or has been in that situation or whatever, you are not to try to fix it. You are not there to make a judgment on on anything either way, whether in their favor or not. You are there purely for support, understanding, and strength. And do that for anybody that you may know, if you do, that's in a situation similar to that. Do whatever you can to give them the strength to speak out, like these strong, beautiful women and people are doing right now. And it's the same thing with the racial thing, with the Black Lives Matter thing. This is gone way too fucking long. This should have happened fucking 100 years ago. Okay, I live in a mixed race family. Okay, I know what happened in the 80s and how people talked about us when we walked down the fucking street. You know what I'm saying? I can't even begin to imagine the plight of the fucking black man at all. At all. I can't even imagine it. I can't even fucking come close because I have this little privilege that I was born with. And so I can't even, but I know the pain that it brings. And so this shit is long the fuck overdue. So you get behind that shit and you support it. And, that's what all these people, that's what everybody needs right now. There's so many people hurting out here and they need our support. So you're not there to fix it. You're not there to make things, to make up for shit. You're not. You're there to listen. You're there to understand. You're there to support. And that's fucking it. That's our fucking role. If you don't know where you stand or what you're supposed to fucking do, that's it. That's all you need to do right now. And let this shit happen. And it'll work itself out. We'll all come together at some point. And then the ones that don't, you see what happens. We've been calling out racists, and we've been speaking out against predators, and it's a profound movement, both of them. And you guys that are leading the charge, man, I love every fucking one of you guys. I don't know where the hell y'all been in my life, but thank God you're here now, and I'm glad to see you go. The same thing with all you pride fighting ass motherfuckers. Get out there and fight your thing, man. I've got many family members, including a daughter, that will be out there at those pride parades and protests and celebrations. And so, all of you guys that are out there fighting the fight for these things that are just fucking shitty, deplorable, and avoidable, and should have been dealt with long ago. When we started walking upright, when we started walking the fuck upright, that's when that shit should have stopped. We are not fucking animals. Stop fucking acting like it. It's ugly out there, and I'm sick of it. I'm done with ugly. I've been deleting motherfuckers like crazy, and it's liberating as hell. Do it for yourself if you want. You might like it. But you need to be good to each other, man. That's where it all comes down to it. So we're going to get into it, man. So we're going to be here for each other, and that's what we're going to do. That's our part of our community. And so part of that is, and as I run a little bit over on the show, guys, I thank everybody that has come on in. Oh, you texted the line, and I must have fucking missed it. I apologize, Juan. I will be more diligent. Same thing. I didn't even get to some of the YouTubers, so I'm going to get killed there. So send your hate mail to studio57radio@gmail.com, and I will answer it never. But it'll make you feel better, I'm sure. No, I'm just fucking with you guys. I love you, and I appreciate you guys. So thank you very much for getting in and all this stuff. I appreciate every one of you guys. The hate thing and the whole, I don't want to get into all that heavy stuff too much, but, it's about defining certain things for people that they don't understand. And so it's going to take a lot of patience as well. So as we all learn. So try to keep that in mind when you're dealing with some people as well, because I'm not good at that. So I need you guys to be good at that. The patience thing doesn't work for me real well. All right, guys, but next week we got something for you. So with Bingo Fashions, we were pretty surprised at a great belt. That's a $200 price point right here on this AEW 4mm zinc stacked dual plated belt. It's 4mm on 4mm. The thing weighs 22 pounds. It's on some okay beef jerky leather. It's not real bad, but they did get the AEW logo down the strip of that thing. And it needs to be re-leathered, re-stoned, but for a $200 price point, that is an outstanding version of that belt. That is a great deal. And they followed through. You got protection through eBay. So for me, that was a win. Now, we talked about it before. I don't want you to feel like, oh, I can go to Bingo and then fucking these assholes burn you, because they do put those red flags up that we talk about all the time. So I've tried another. So I know you've seen them out there. Championship belts is what they go by. You've seen the crazy cheap fucking prices. Okay, like you're like, this can't be fucking real. They got like $100 Dome Globe NWA belts. You're like, get the fuck out of here. I mean, they got the deals. All the red flags. They got their little website. It's janky as shit. It's kind of cheesy. Nothing really makes sense. Kind of lost in translation. And you're like, what the fuck? But everything, all the things check. So then other red flags have come up on this group, on this particular belt company, as their page got shut down via Facebook. Shut their business page down, and without any real explanation, they opened up another business page under another name. But they did tell you that we were formerly Championship Belts. This is our new page. This is our new name, because Facebook hates us. So I guess that's okay, and things happen. But there's a lot of different red flags there, and prices, usually when they're too good to be true, that is a fact. So once again, through some of our great sponsorships, I want to shout out to a Fanatic U over here on Grossbeck and Masonic, guys. I know there's no sports out there, but if you need your fix, you need something for your man cave, you need some memorabilia, you got to shoot over to Fanatic U, dude. They got everything, all the college stuff. They got all your pro sports stuff. All your fix is in the fucking mix. I'm telling you. That's where I get my shit. Like all this stuff you see here, most of this stuff here, other than like the rare finds, like I got the Barry Sanders Oklahoma State worn. Check this out. Barry Sanders Oklahoma State game worn jersey. Bam. You can't get that there. And then I got Ichiro autographed behind me jersey, but you can't get that. But they have that kind of stuff there. Go get your Ichiro jersey and go to a fucking game and get it signed like that one got done. So that's not like a game worn like but they have shit. If you're into stuff like that, if you're into sports memorabilia, they got you covered. Fanatic, you check them out. Grossbeck and Masonic in Fraser in the Mitten. Get it done. So we got this belt. I ordered belts from this cat. I ordered belts from Championship Belt, and the motherfucker came like that. It wasn't expected to land until tomorrow. I figured it'd probably be late from that. This fucker landed like 4 days ago. So next week on the podcast, the Ugly Podcast, we're going to get down and dirty with this son of a bitch. And we're going to rate it. We're going to break it down. We're going to take a good look at it. I'll give you a teaser. Come on, guys. You know I'm not going to leave without nothing. Woo! A little gift of the gods action. We will review this belt, talk a little bit about it, and we will, just tell the story of Championship Belts and how our interactions was and what this looks like for $170 shipped to your door in days. What do you think? Be nice to each other, be good, and belt collectors, y'all stay united. See you next week. Peace.
You're listening to Studio 57 Radio, your home for underground hip-hop, rap, and R&B. Studio 57 Radio.